Landscape photography. Landscape photography is one of the most popular topics among photo hobbyists. You just need to know a few things before you begin. First, the light. We should observe the position of the sun. Then we can decide whether to take a picture with either front or back light. Frame the pictures carefully. The final frame cannot be random. Let's also not forget about the perspective and the fact that it will be affected by the focal length of the lens. I look for an interesting take. We can decide to shoot with front or back light. Now I try to capture the landscape with front light. Today we are incredibly lucky because the clouds are spectacular. Landscape photos usually make a better impression when the sky is not absolutely clear. The clouds today will make great captures. We can use them to fill the entire frame. It is not a particularly good idea to put the horizon in the middle of the shot. It will be best to put the horizon in 2/3 or 1/3 of the shot. The horizon in the middle doesn't look too well. Now I'll try to take a shot. The clouds are really fantastic. It's a perfect occasion to use one of my favorite lenses, the 11-18 super wide-angle lens. Thanks to the wide-angle perspective, the clouds will be somewhere here in the shot. Having attached the lens, I came up with one more idea. Here we've got a patch of lawn. The angle of the lens is wide enough to frame the grass in the bottom of the horizontal shot. It will nicely lead the eyes through the photo. The left side of the shot might be a bit dark, so I've changed the image-saving mode to RAW plus JPG. In the RAW format, I will be able to give more light to many details and increase the available tonal range. Here we'll also use the clouds in the shot. We might try to shoot against the light. The situation is totally different. The trees are all in the shade. The water surface is nice and wavy here. I think we might try a low shot here and capture a few trees with a longer lens. Let's see first what can be done with the 11-18. You can also see the clouds, but in this shot the sky will not take that much of the shot because its color is brighter than on the other side. The lake and the water will make the main subject of the photo. The sun is in the shot, and I hope that with the wide angle of the 11-18 lens we might try to shoot a really interesting landscape photo. Great. Now in this lovely scenery I'd like to find an interesting spot where I could show you what perspective is and how it is determined by the lens focal length. This is a very good spot to demonstrate how the perspective in the photo is affected by the lens focal length that we use. The bridge I'm standing on right now will serve as an example. In a moment, I will take 4 pictures, each one using different lens focal length. First, I'll select focal length of 18 mm, then 35 mm and 55 mm, and the last picture 100 mm. Using the 4 photos as examples, it will be easy to illustrate how the perspective and the entire shot changes. The height of the barrier will stay the same in the 4 shots. The sun is already low, so I'll take the tripod to achieve the right depth of field, and I'll use aperture 11 or even 16. The shutter speed should be pretty slow now. Let's begin.
Tak więc przystąpmy do dzieła.
Now I have achieved the maximum focal length of the standard 55mm zoom. So I'll switch to the 55 to 200mm lens, and then I'll be able to take the last photo at 100mm. The 100 focal length is already pretty long, so I'll have to move away from the bridge. The 4 shots are ready. Let's have a look at them. Landscape photography is really enjoyable. The photographs are nice and the landscape is accessible to everyone. It's worth remembering about the few things I've mentioned, but most of all about direction of the light. Let's pay attention to the sun position and see whether the landscape or other subject will look better in front or backlight. We also need to frame carefully and make sure that what we see in the viewfinder makes the final shot. We should also observe the perspective, which is affected by lens focal length. We can change the lens and look for the best perspective. But most of all, we should keep experimenting and looking for our own ways of photographing landscapes. We'd like to thank the Forest Culture Center in Głuchów.